whenever I was first thinking about putting an art show together, I really wanted something that was going to be urban-based and more inviting to people my age, more of my contemporaries. So I thought, where would I like that to be? And knowing Phil, the bar manager here, really worked out for me because this venue is great for exactly that. I mean, we can have music, we can have art on the walls, we can have a movie playing. I mean, it all works. So that's kind of the aspect that I wanted to go with in that regard. So, and it feeds real well with the graffiti work. The very urban, down to earth, like almost run down sort of aspect of our work. So.
Well, in terms of your photography and the effects you're trying to get, what are some of the things that people will see that is consistent within your photograph?
Well, I think all of them, while they may be different sorts of graffiti, I think that they all have a common sort of cultural relevance. They all sort of are an emotion or a backlash or a thought process of, things that, are said or spoken, but very softly. But they're all around you. Like this piece right behind you, it's a battleground of people exchanging words, and this piece right here is in Oklahoma City, and so it's and it's just an expression of free art, that just kind of runs everywhere. While people may not appreciate it, that's what I seek to find, is that appreciation in the art. So, but I seek out the context that can really bring a richness and a cultural relevance to the things around you that you may not even know exist. So that's kind of what I seek out. It's a language. I mean, it's out there for everyone to see, but most people don't see it, or refuse to see it, or consider it degrading of some sort. And parts of it I agree. Would I want it on my house? Sure. No, not at all. Like, wouldn't want it on my house. But the thing is it's a sort of counterculture that people don't really acknowledge. And there's a lot of people who aren't happy with things, a lot of people who don't agree with things or agree with popular opinion, and this is sort of an outlet for most of those artists, I feel like. And it may be juvenile to some people, it may be lowbrow to other people, but really, I mean, you can find beauty in anything. Graffiti art is its own art. It's its own free art form that exists all around us. I'm sure within the 5-mile radius there's hundreds of graffiti, but it's one of those things that exists because people have an opinion, and people have a spirit, and people want to be heard in one context or another. But most of the time, they're not heard. My basis of understanding as a human being is trying to understand other people more. That's how I understand myself. Like, if I understand where other people are coming from, then I'm going to understand myself more. And that's where my art comes from, my life comes from. And I think that's a good perspective to live from. I'm not necessarily embracing the idea of tagging the side of a building, but I am embracing the idea of freedom of speech, freedom, like those liberties that people need to express themselves. So I think just seeing that free art form out there and existing and speaking was what really pulled me in to begin with. And it's not beautiful, really. I mean, it's degrading and all of that, but at the same time, it's very awesome. I've been working on pieces lately where I've been layering images and tearing them down as a sort of like an old street sign that you might see on the highway that's been layered down and torn down. But I wanted to resonate some sort of message. I wanted to explain or maybe go in depth about what it is I think about art, or what it is I think about a specific area of culture that's relevant to my life. So in that respect, and I've also been doing drawings for sort of 50 years ago and juxtaposing that with today's times, and how the two are very different but also sort of the same in the way that we look at family life and the way that we look at ourselves, but then how they're also very different from what they were telling us in the 60s and in the 50s and what we as young adults see now. So that's kind of how I go with it. It's explaining my cultural perspective on things that are surrounding me at my time.